Hey everybody, this is Perch. How important is somebody's costume? No, I mean like the actual superhero costume, not like Kanye West wearing a light White Lives Matter shirt, pissing everybody off. Um, it is funny. It's weird that Kanye West is fascinating because he'll come out, he'll say a few things. People, the members of the right wing will suddenly be like, "Oh my God, this guy's a genius," and then he'll go kind of too far, starts talking about Jewish people, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're backing away." Uh, but no, I'm talking about actual super. Lizzo is unhealthily fat. Sorry, guy has to be said. Anyway, I know. She made some comment like, "Why has everybody got my name in their mouth?" It's like I don't know, but when you start talking about putting things in mouths, I start getting nervous. I don't get too close to Lizzo. Anyway, all right. We're talking costumes. So somebody wrote in, how much does it come down to costume? Um, I talked about the Miles Morales costume being kind of crappy. I mean, it looked weird. I think that the artist who designed it understood what they were doing, and wasn't a bad idea. But the artist that followed did not know how to draw that costume, and so it wound up looking super weird. Anyway, mail goes, "Hey Perch, what's up? I know what's up with you." Anyway, I heard your video today where you mentioned the crappy recent Miles Morales costume. That, as well as another video where you made a while ago, there are bad characters or just bad writers, has sparked a question for me. How much do you think a costume makes or breaks a character's appeal? Something you may notice in comics is the matching of colors. Primary colors usually work best with primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. Secondary with secondary, green and purple, being the famous one for villains, and so on. This is called color theory, by the way, and it is a real thing. And then there's just general appeal. If you look at Khalid, Dr. Fate, the worst thing about him is his age and the fact that they put him in a goofy hoodie getup. Yeah, that's true. It didn't fit with character. I think the most common mistake people have made with costumes kind of in recent years is they do the "Hello, fellow children" bit, and the character they're trying to make the character look like the new generation. Like it's like, oh, this character is looks like you kids, and then it does not. The kids are like, yeah, thanks, thanks for that look. Anyway, back to the mail. It says, I know conventional wisdom says a great writer can turn a bad character around, but if the character is just dull to look at on the page, I'm not sure that will help. The best example I can think of is the original Mr. Terrific. There's no universe, I think, where that costume would be cool to look at. The original Mr. Terrific. I think Mr. Terrific's current costume is cool, but yeah, the original one looks like ass. Especially not compared to his successor. I'm sure you have better examples. What do you think? Is the costume and look a true make or break? It doesn't help. I think that the look and feel of the character, how it's rendered, etc., definitely has a big impact. I don't think it's truly make or break. I'm trying to think of a costume that was so offensively terrible that even though the writing was brilliant, the costume just people couldn't get over the costume. I can't think of one. I don't know. I'm sure one existed, and also things come and go in style. So you have like you have stuff like the '90s and tons of pockets and kind of all that stuff that was very popular for a period of time in those comics. And then the thing kind of wears off, and you look at that stuff now, and it all looks pretty cringe and weird. So I think that what looks good for a while, or what looks good during a particular era, can look terrible later. And sometimes we forget that there was the costume. The costume once upon a time looked good, but in terms of just truly awful costume redesigns, I mean, there's been some. I think they messed around with Wolverine from time to time, and it's been ass. I think that whenever they try and get too wacky with some of the outfits, I think one of the worst is they took the Avengers and they're trying to make the Avengers cool, like the X-Men, and they turned the Wasp into a wasp alien-like creature, and the characters run around in vests and pockets and belts and weird, and it didn't fit the Avengers, and so it took a lot of the uniqueness from like Hercules and the Black Knight. Thor looked pretty goddamn goofy in his crazy ass '90s get up, and they just made the characters look really bizarre in a bad way. Every now and then you change the costume, it really fits the storyline, and it's awesome. Like when Steve Rogers did the the black, white and red costume. That was pretty great. Classic example, Spider-Man going to the black costume for a while. That was great. There's definitely cases where you could change the costume around and it fits. It fits what the writer's trying to do with the story. It fits. It works. But generally, I think when you have kind of an iconic costume, well, it'd be like if they took the Silver Surfer and they go, "We're going to put you in something with shoulder pads and I don't know, and like you're going to have Wolverine boots and you're going to carry a gun for some reason." I mean, no, that wouldn't work. Although, as I'm saying this right now, I would kind of like to see the Silver Surfer like make just a machine gun out of the power cosmic, and then he just surfs in, just blasting away with his machine gun. And there's a world where that would be pretty hilarious and badass. But I don't think I want to see it. But I kind of think that so if somebody could probably pull that off. Anyway, um, I I think that what's interesting is Wolverine, his yellow and black costume was seen as super lame, and for several years, and he goes into the brown one, and people are like, oh, thank God, this brown costume is way better. And then it seemed like there was some point where the brown costume sucked ass, and everybody thought it was shitty. Like it keeps going it keeps turning around with him. I think the Punishers had some pretty bizarre ass uniforms from time to time. Again, sorry to your question, I don't think the costume breaks a character by himself. Definitely doesn't help, but usually accompanied, usually with the bad costume is really bad writing. So is it the costume? Is it the writing? Hard to say, but if you have a shitty costume and then the character is being written into a shitty situation that just is dumb and nobody likes it, like they go so hand in hand. It's hard to tell which one was the actual problem, but they're both so terrible that it doesn't really matter. The key is you're not buying that comic and nobody's remembering it fondly. The problem is always it has been for the last 20 or 30 years, and they try and get too trendy to say, hey, here's what the kids are liking nowadays. They're liking liking high tops, so we're going to put all the characters in those, and that's what's going to they'll really the kids will identify with these characters. That's it. That almost certainly goes wrong. But again, it's accompanied by bad writing. I don't know. So I'm curious what some of the viewers think. Can you think of a costume that was just so outrageously shitty that the character truly suffered from it? Not in hindsight, not like Sue Storm's boob window Fantastic Four costume that just looked kind of weird and bizarre on her, but I mean truly awful, like truly an awful costume. Can you think of anything like that? I mean, I'm sure that exists, but I can't think of what at the moment. Other than I know I've been around. I remember they put Wolverine, or sorry, the Thing. What happened to the Thing? I think the Thing got clawed in the face by Wolverine, and I shouldn't remember why or what went on to do that. But anyway, his face was all screwed up. It was like he was bleeding orange goo, and his rocky face was all screwed up. So he wore a helmet to heal, like he wore a big silver kind of blocky helmet. That was a dumb move. That was not a good costume. I liked how my car kind of sensed I was going to start cursing, and so it started beeping at me. I don't know if your car's going to say this is the proximity alert. It's like what it's supposed to do is tell you, hey, somebody's about to crash into you, or hey, you're about to crash into an Arby's. One of those. But mine just goes off every now and then. I'm like looking around, what's going on? And the only thing I can come up with, ghosts. It's ghosts. Do you guys remember in Tesla, the people, it would show people, and somebody figured out that if you drove your Tesla to like a graveyard, that it would show people on the little screen. I'm not making this up. Go look at it on Google. Creepy as hell. Anyway, people who weren't there. Whatever. Let me know your thoughts. Terrible costumes have wrecked the characters. Can you think of any? Do you have any? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course. And thanks for listening.